Welcome back to Cleantech Deep Dive. Today we're exploring how artificial intelligence and the rapid expansion of data centers are not just shaping the digital world, but also really accelerating the next wave of clean technology innovation.
Absolutely. It's everywhere, isn't it? AI this, AI that.
You really can't avoid it.
Yeah.
And behind all that intelligence, you've got these huge, power-hungry data centers.
Exactly. And that's the core of our deep dive today, right? This
Mhm.
incredible energy demand these centers create, and perhaps more interestingly, how the clean tech sector is stepping up with some really inventive solutions to power them sustainably.
It's a fascinating intersection. You've got this almost exponential growth in digital infrastructure meeting this urgent need for clean energy. Our sources definitely paint that picture.
They do. The global electricity demand is surging, and, well, a big driver is definitely this digital transformation.
Okay, let's dig into that surge then. The numbers we saw were quite something. A record 590 gigawatts of solar and wind added globally in 2024 alone. That's massive.
Huge numbers, absolutely huge. But, and this is the kicker, it's happening alongside this other massive trend, the skyrocketing energy needs of AI and data centers. So it creates both opportunities and, frankly, some real challenges.
Right, so we're adding renewables fast, but demand might be growing even faster. What's the current picture, according to, say, the IEA?
Well, the International Energy Agency estimates that right now, all the computing and data storage globally accounts for maybe 1 to 1.5% of electricity use.
Okay, that sounds manageable.
Maybe on the surface, perhaps. But consider this. A typical Google search uses about zero point 0.3 watt-hours. A single query on something like ChatGPT, that jumps to around 2.9 watt-hours, almost 10 times more.
Wow. Okay, scale that up across millions, billions of queries.
Exactly. As AI gets baked into everything, that energy intensity really starts to matter a lot.
And we're building more places to house all this. I saw a stat, data center capacity under construction in the U.S. jumped 70% just from 2023 to 2024.
That's right, 70% year over year. It's an incredible rate of physical expansion. And the projections, well, they get even wilder.
Go on.
The IEA thinks data center energy demand will likely double by 2030. McKinsey's analysis suggests it could even triple, maybe quintuple. There's some uncertainty, naturally, but the direction is clear. Big increases.
Which explains why these big tech companies are suddenly becoming massive energy buyers. Amazon is the world's largest corporate buyer of renewables, right?
They are. And others, like Microsoft, are even looking at reviving old nuclear plants or investing in next-gen nuclear tech. It just shows the sheer scale of power they need, reliably.
Yeah, that nuclear angle is interesting. It underlines the urgency, and it's not just about renewables, is it? We saw that quote from Eric Schmidt, former Google CEO.
Oh, yeah, the one about needing energy in all forms, renewable, non-renewable, whatever. It needs to be there, and it needs to be there quickly.
That's the one. It sounds almost desperate, like, get us power, any power now.
It highlights the tension, doesn't it? This immediate, massive need for reliable power is actually, according to some sources, leading to older coal plants staying online longer than planned.
Really? So the AI boom could be extending the life of coal?
Potentially,
Mhm.
yes. And it's also creating a market for new natural gas plants because they can be built relatively quickly and provide consistent power.
So what's the forecast mix? If demand doubles or triples, where's that extra power coming from?
The IEA projects that over the next 5 years, maybe half of the additional demand from data centers will be met by renewables, which is good. But
But the other half.
the other half is projected to come from natural gas, coal, and nuclear. So renewables are growing fast, definitely, but they're still in a race against this demand explosion.
It's a complex picture, and we should probably keep perspective, right? Even with massive growth, data centers are currently less than 2% of total electricity demand.
That's a crucial point. Even if they triple, they'll likely stay in the single digits percentage-wise. Other things, like industrial growth in developing nations, economic development generally, those are also huge drivers of future energy demand. It's not just about AI.
Good point. And what about the AI and crypto world itself? You mentioned that source calling it a Cambrian explosion.
Yeah, like this sudden burst of diverse life forms, lots of new companies, different approaches to AI, crypto mining. It's a bit chaotic.
Which could mean a big energy spike in the short term.
That's the theory. A near-term spike as everyone tries different things, maybe less efficiently, but then as the field matures, you might see consolidation, fewer, maybe more efficient players dominate, and that could potentially level off or even bring down the demand growth later on.
Right.
But it's very dynamic, hard to predict precisely.
Okay, so demand is the big story. But there's another side to this coin, efficiency. These GPUs, the graphics processing units powering AI, they're getting better, right? More
Yeah.
efficient.
Oh, dramatically so.
Mhm.
The progress there has been absolutely phenomenal. NVIDIA, for instance, they reported their platform became, get this, 100,000 times more energy efficient for the same AI inference task over the last decade.
100,000 times. That's
Yeah.
hard to even
It
grasp.
is. And even just in the last 2 years, between product generations, they saw a 25 times improvement in efficiency. These aren't small steps, they're massive leaps.
So, with games like that, why is energy demand still such a huge concern? Shouldn't that solve the problem?
Well, that leads us to the paradox. It's like Jevons paradox in economics. When something becomes cheaper or more efficient.
You just use more of it.
Exactly. Lower operating costs, because of that amazing efficiency, can actually encourage more widespread deployment of AI.
Yeah.
So some of those potential energy savings get eaten up by simply doing more AI stuff because now it's more feasible.
Makes sense. Like, fuel-efficient cars might lead people to just drive more miles.
Precisely. As Joshua Parker from NVIDIA put it, they're pushing efficiency hard, but there are still real costs to energy and computation. You probably won't get to a point where doing more AI costs literally zero extra energy. There's always that economic and energy trade-off.
A fascinating dynamic. Okay, so AI consumes energy, but efficiency is improving. Paradoxically, perhaps leading to more use. But AI isn't just a consumer, right? It can actually help the clean tech side, too.
Absolutely. That's a really important positive angle. AI can deliver significant environmental benefits. Think about simulations.
How so?
Well, AI allows for incredibly complex simulations.
Yeah.
This can drastically cut down the need for building physical prototypes or doing energy-intensive real-world testing in areas like, say, designing more aerodynamic aircraft. Less physical testing means less energy used.
Okay, interesting. What else?
Grid management is a big one. Grid operators are using AI algorithms more and more to optimize how electricity is distributed. This helps integrate intermittent renewables like solar and wind more smoothly.
So, predicting supply and demand better.
Exactly. Predicting it better, managing flows, increasing the grid's overall reliability, and cutting down on wasted energy. And AI is even being used at the materials science level, designing better battery chemistries or more efficient solar cell materials.
So, AI is both part of the problem and part of the solution.
You could definitely frame it that way. It's a powerful tool that cuts both ways.
Okay, let's pivot then to the specific clean tech solutions for these data centers. We looked at several key areas. First up, energy storage systems, ESS. Why are they so crucial here?
ESS is absolutely vital. Think about it. Data centers need power 24/7, absolutely reliably, no interruptions allowed. But major clean sources like solar and wind, they're intermittent, right? The sun doesn't always shine, the wind doesn't always. Yes, it integrates with uninterruptible power supply systems for that critical backup function. Key technologies here are things like lithium-ion batteries, which are common, but also flow batteries for longer duration storage, and these really large grid-scale battery energy storage systems, BESS.
Makes total sense. You need that clean power on tap, always. Okay, next up, green hydrogen. This sounds very futuristic, but potentially very clean. How does it fit in?
Green hydrogen is really promising, particularly as an alternative to the backup diesel generators data centers often rely on. Diesel generators work, but they have emissions, obviously.
Right, not exactly clean.
Not at all. Green hydrogen, though, is produced using renewable electricity to split water electrolysis. So the fuel itself is made with clean energy.
And then you use it in a fuel cell.
Exactly. Hydrogen fuel cells combine hydrogen and oxygen to produce electricity, with only water as a byproduct. They can offer long-duration backup power, longer than many batteries, and it's dispatchable, meaning you can turn it on when needed.
Are companies actually using this?
They're starting to. Microsoft, Google. They've run pilot projects using hydrogen fuel cells for backup power at some data centers. It's still relatively early days compared to batteries, but the potential is huge, especially for longer outages. The main tech includes PEM and solid oxide fuel cells, plus the electrolyzers to make the green hydrogen.
So, ditch the diesel, bring in the hydrogen fuel cells for cleaner backup. Significant potential there. And of course, the most direct approach, just powering them with solar and wind directly.
Absolutely. The hyperscale data centers, the really enormous ones, are increasingly signing what are called power purchase agreements, or PPAs.
Direct deals with renewable energy developers.
That's right. They basically contract to buy the output of a large solar farm or wind farm, often for many years. This gives the data center a guaranteed source of carbon-free electricity to meet their sustainability goals, and it directly finances the construction of new renewable projects.
So the data centers themselves are driving renewable build-out.
In a big way, we're talking high-efficiency solar panels, massive onshore and offshore wind turbines, smart inverters to manage the power flow.
Yeah.
These PPAs are a major market force now.
Okay. And then there's making the whole system smarter, smart grids and energy management. How does that help?
This is about optimization. Smart grids and advanced energy management systems, often using AI, help balance electricity supply and demand in real time across the grid.
So the data center can be more flexible?
Yes, they can participate in demand response programs. If the grid is stressed, the data center might temporarily reduce its non-critical power consumption, helping to stabilize things. It makes them not just passive consumers, but active grid participants.
And saves them money, presumably, while boosting efficiency.
Correct. It enhances overall energy efficiency, lowers their operating costs, and makes it easier to integrate those variable renewables we talked about. Think AI-powered management software, those grid-integrated batteries, and also distributed energy resources, or DERs, smaller local power sources.
Creating a more intelligent, interactive energy system. Very cool. Okay, one last area, often overlooked perhaps, but critical. Heat. Data centers generate tons of it.
Oh, enormous amounts. All those servers running flat out generate incredible heat, and cooling them is a massive energy drain. Often 30, maybe 40% of a data center's total electricity use is just for cooling.
Wow, that's huge. So better cooling tech is key.
Absolutely. We're seeing advancements like immersion cooling, where servers are literally submerged in a special non-conductive fluid, which is way more efficient than just blasting them with cold air. Advanced water-based cooling systems are also much better than traditional methods.
And what about the heat itself? Can it be used?
Yes, that's the really smart part, heat recovery. Instead of just venting all that waste heat into the atmosphere, you capture it.
And do what with it?
It can be used for district heating, piping it to nearby homes or offices to provide warmth. Or it can be used in certain industrial processes that need low-grade heat, turning a waste product into a useful resource.
That's a fantastic example of circular thinking. So technologies like heat recovery units, immersion cooling, efficient heat pumps, all crucial.
Definitely crucial pieces of the puzzle for making data centers more sustainable.
Now, we've talked a lot about powering them, but maybe we should briefly touch on what a data center is fundamentally, beyond just a big building with computers.
Good idea. So at its core, a data center is just that, a dedicated physical facility that houses an organization's critical IT infrastructure, servers, storage drives, networking gear, the works.
The brain of their digital operations, essentially.
Pretty much. And it's a highly controlled environment. You need reliable backup power, systems to replicate data in case of disaster, very precise temperature and humidity control to keep the equipment happy, and obviously strong security, both physical and digital.
It's way more complex than just sticking servers in a spare room. And they've evolved a lot, haven't they?
Oh, massively. From the early days of mainframe rooms to today's world, the sheer volume of data, the rise of virtualization running multiple virtual machines on single physical servers, and the need for everything to be accessible remotely over networks. That all drove the evolution towards the modern data center.
And now we have different models, right? Owning your own, renting space.
Exactly. You have on-premises data centers owned by the company itself. Then there's co-location, where you rent space and power in a specialized facility run by someone else. And of course, the cloud.
Like AWS, Google Cloud, Azure.
Right. Cloud providers operate these enormous geographically distributed data centers. Think AWS with its regions and multiple availability zones within them, and businesses rent computing, storage, and networking as a service. That offers huge scalability and reliability.
And the tech inside these places is pretty specialized, too.
Highly specialized. You've got racks packed with powerful servers, sophisticated storage systems managing vast amounts of data, high-speed networking with fiber optics routers, firewalls.
Plus all the support stuff.
All the crucial support. Redundant power systems, UPS, backup generators, advanced cooling, fire suppression, physical security, and underpinning it all are technologies like virtualization, hardware standardization, modular design so you can scale easily, automation for management, and a huge focus on high availability through redundancy. Everything has a backup.
It really is a complex, hidden world powering our digital lives. And listening to all this, it's just so clear how tightly interconnected AI's growth, data center expansion and the push for clean tech solutions really are.
Absolutely. It's a profound shift we're witnessing. The energy demands are huge, yes, but they're also acting as this incredible catalyst. They're forcing innovation and investment in clean tech at a scale and pace we might not have seen otherwise.
So the technologies we discussed, storage, green hydrogen, direct renewables, smart grids, better thermal management,
Yeah.
they're becoming essential, not just nice to haves.
Exactly. They're moving from the fringes to become foundational components for building a digital infrastructure that's actually sustainable in the long run. It's a massive challenge, but also a massive opportunity for the clean tech sector.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Clean Tech Deep Dive.
If AI and data centers are rewriting the rules of energy demand, clean tech is rewriting the solutions.
So think about this. As AI continues to get smarter and potentially more efficient, and as clean tech continues to innovate, how will that balance shift? What role do you see these intertwined technologies playing, not just in powering our digital world, but in the wider transition to a cleaner economy? Something to ponder.